Hey everyone, John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be covering 5 important factors to consider before enrolling in a criminal justice degree program online. I know how stressful it can be trying to decide among all the different online universities out there, especially considering how important your education is and the impact it can have on the rest of your life. But luckily for you, I'm going to cut out all the noise and really dig into the key decision factors that truly matter so you can figure out which online criminal justice degree program is the right fit for your particular situation. So if you're ready, let's get to it. Alright, so before I dive into the factors, I should just mention up front here that if at any point during this video you feel like you need some more information, make sure to check the description below. I'll drop links in the text below the video screen over to a bunch of helpful sources, guides, and resources, so you'll definitely want to check that out as you continue your research. Also, if you find this video helpful in any way, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and drop us a quick comment below. That'd really be appreciated. Okay, so let's get right to it. So the first thing you should do is take some time and really think about what you want to do with the degree in criminal justice. What is your ultimate goal? Is it to become a police officer, private investigator, crime scene specialist, forensic psychologist, youth correctional counselor? There are a ton of different options. The point is that you first need to nail down what exactly it is you want to do or specialize in. This will help you figure out which criminal justice degree program best aligns with your personal objectives. That way, as you start to do your research, you can start identifying what I call X factors among all these different online universities and their degree programs. And by X factors, I'm talking about the specific attributes, offerings, and curriculum that align with your personal goals. So think different concentration options. Does the university offer a specific concentration in the area or niche in which you're most interested? How many elective credits are there as part of that degree track? That way you can really zero in on the topics that you're most passionate about. Are there any specific criminal justice certifications that are integrated into the degree program so you can further boost your resume? Does the university have a military transfer credit program? Or maybe your ultimate goal is to earn a master's degree after completing your bachelor's. In that case, you'll likely want to check out online universities that offer an accelerated bachelor's to master's pathway. Purdue Global, which is a popular national online university, is a perfect example of this. Essentially, you can work towards a master's degree in public administration, educational psychology, human services, or legal studies while you earn your bachelor's degree in criminal justice. This way you can complete both degrees in less time and at a lower cost than completing both separately. So the big takeaway here is that by spending time up front thinking about your end goals and objectives, it'll help you identify which programs might be a good fit for you personally. Okay, so once you have a good idea of what your best fit degree program looks like, you need to consider admission requirements and the application process. So online universities generally fall into one of 2 buckets, either open enrollment or selective enrollment. Selective enrollment schools are the more traditional types of universities that probably come to mind when you hear the word college. Think Stanford, Yale, University of Texas. These types of universities tend to have stringent admission requirements. You'll likely need a minimum GPA, a good SAT or ACT score, and write a personal statement, among other things. So if you have a strong academic background and you don't mind jumping through a few hoops in order to get accepted into a top-ranked criminal justice program, then you may want to focus your research on selective enrollment schools. Just keep in mind though, the acceptance rates at selective enrollment schools can be low. There's definitely no guarantee that you'll get in. So you may also want to consider an open enrollment university. These types of schools are great for students who may not have the strongest academic background, or for people who may have been in the military or workforce for a while and are now looking to go back to school, since the only admission requirement, depending on the program at open enrollment schools, typically is just that students have a high school diploma or GED. So if this type of admissions process is more aligned with your background or current situation, I'd recommend checking out Purdue Global. I'll be using them for example purposes throughout this video since they're a well-known national online university. I'll go ahead and drop a link down below in the description over to Purdue Global so you can get a better feel for what the application and admissions process is like at an open enrollment college. Okay, the third and quite possibly most important factor to consider is pricing and affordability. What is an online bachelor's degree in criminal justice going to cost? And as you might imagine, there are a few factors to consider here. The first thing I would do is look at the university's tuition per credit rate and the number of credits required for graduation. Doing some quick back-of-the-envelope math will give you a good idea of the total cost to earn your criminal justice degree. Typically, national online universities will either require 120 or 180 credits to graduate. And then in terms of pricing, it typically ranges between about $250 per credit on the low end, all the way up to $550 per credit on the high end. Though this depends on the universities you're considering, as well as other factors like whether you're in-state versus out-of-state, an international student, part of the military, and more. And then on top of those standard tuition costs, online universities typically charge other fees and assessments as well that you're definitely going to want to watch out for. These include technology fees, transcript fees, learning assessments, graduation fees, etc. Sometimes these secondary costs can really add up, so it's worth looking into prior to enrolling. Now, while we're on the topic of affordability, there are two more factors to keep in mind. One is allowable transfer credits. You'll definitely want to research this if you have credits left over from a college course you've taken in the past. This is a great way to reduce the overall cost of your degree program. For example, at Purdue Global, they allow students to transfer up to 75% of the total credits required for graduation, and the average bachelor's graduate earns their degree in about 2 years. Of course, each online university has their own transfer policies and rules, so you'll definitely want to do your own research, but I at least wanted to make you aware of this. Now, the other thing to look for here are trial periods. In some cases, online universities allow you to do a free trial run before you go and plop down thousands of dollars in tuition. For example, once again at Purdue Global, they offer a no financial obligation 3-week trial period. So essentially, you can enroll, take classes for 3 weeks, see if you like it, and then decide whether you want to continue or opt out with no tuition cost, which I think is a pretty cool option for students who are maybe on the fence. For more information about how these trial periods work, check down below in the description. I'll have a link down there over to Purdue Global. They'll walk you through everything. Okay, the next factor to consider is financial aid. And I'm not talking about student loans, because at the end of the day, pretty much anyone can go out and source themselves a federal or private student loan. Instead, what's more important and interesting to look at is the average amount of institutional aid that universities provide directly. In other words, what percentage of new, beginning, full-time students get grants or scholarships from the actual university and not third-party sources? And what is the average amount of that aid? This will give you a good idea of what your chances are of securing funds from the university to help you reduce the overall cost of earning your degree. And yes, that type of information is publicly available if you're wondering. You can actually get this data directly from the U.S. Department of Education. I'll go ahead and drop a link down below in the description over to the U.S. Department of Education's website so you can check what the stats are for the specific university that you're interested in. Okay, before moving on from the topic of financial aid, I should mention that some national online universities also offer different incentives and promotions to keep students motivated after they first enroll. In most cases, these incentives are called progress scholarships, welcome grants, or something to that effect. And essentially how they work is that if you stay continuously enrolled at the university and meet some other basic eligibility requirements, schools will often reduce your tuition rate in order to keep you motivated and on track to earn your degree. And the other item you should inquire about is tuition locks. Some online universities lock in the tuition rate for the duration of your degree program once you enroll. This means there won't be any surprise tuition hikes down the road. So definitely make sure to ask if one of these options is available to you during the application process. Okay, so the final factor on my list today that you should consider prior to enrolling is program format. But before I cover that, I should mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we give away a $500 scholarship to one lucky subscriber, just as a way of saying thank you and to help ease the financial burden of higher education. It's super simple to enter. I'll drop all the details down below in the description. It'll take you less than 10 seconds to enter, and hey, you never know. You could win $500 to help pay for your criminal justice degree. Okay, so back to program format, or in other words, how the courses and terms are structured or scheduled. In my experience, most online degree programs fall into one of 3 buckets: short accelerated terms, traditional school terms, and self-paced. So in that first category of short accelerated terms, some online universities work off 5 to 6 week terms in which students take 1 course at a time or sometimes 2 max. The courses move very swiftly, but the nice thing here is that you only have to focus on 1 class at a time. You don't have to juggle 3 or 4 courses at once. So, if you're the type of student who maybe has trouble multitasking or staying organized and on schedule, then this type of program format might be a good fit for you, assuming you have the free time for a compressed schedule. Now, the second type of format is the more classic college experience that you're probably used to, in which you take 2 to 5 classes per term. This is your typical quarter or semester system where terms usually last anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. I'd say the majority of online universities fall into this bucket. So if you want a more typical, traditional higher ed schedule, even if part-time, I'd focus your research on these types of program formats. Purdue Global, which I've mentioned several times already, follows this format. They offer 10-week terms in which each program requires a weekly commitment of around 15 to 18 hours on average. Again, the link for Purdue Global will be down below in the description. They have some helpful information on their website regarding how their courses and terms are structured, so you can get a better feel for this type of program format. Okay, so last up here, I want to cover the self-paced learning formats that seem to be picking up steam in recent years. Essentially, with these types of degree programs, you can take courses at your own speed and move on to the next course whenever you're ready. So if you want to tackle multiple courses at a time and fly through the degree program as quickly as possible, you can, in as little as 15 to 18 months in some cases. Or if you have other obligations like a full-time job or young children and you can only spare a few hours per week, you can slow it down and study at your own pace. So bottom line, if you're super busy or you have a hectic, chaotic schedule that is constantly changing, this type of self-paced program might be a great fit. And sometimes there's schools that offer both types of degree formats, Purdue University Global being one of them. You can earn your criminal justice degree following the traditional path that I covered a minute ago where there's 10-week terms, or for select students, Purdue Global offers what they call their Excel track, which is a perfect example of the self-paced degree format where you're in the driver's seat. And that about does it for this video. I know making a decision about something as important as your education is extremely difficult, so I hope this was some helpful advice around online universities and gives you some guidance in finding a criminal justice degree program that fits your specific goals, budget, and learning preferences. Again, if you want to learn more about online criminal justice degree programs, be sure to check out the description below. I'll have a bunch of helpful information down there for you, including guides and resources related to scholarships and financial aid for you to check out. Also, if you're interested in another degree area outside of criminal justice, be sure to check out the rest of the videos on our YouTube channel. We have a ton of helpful content related to higher ed. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, best of luck everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.